So yesterday we started with technology introduction, where we saw the use of tool Vapalizer. We also saw how you can use cookie editor. Vapalizer is a technology detection extension that can be used. Then we studied the security header check. We used this website to do security headers check of any particular website to access the security posture of it. Yeah. Then we saw what is request and what is response, how a request is made from the browser and a response is received from the web application server. We saw what is HTTP method, HTTP headers, request body. In response, we saw HTTP status codes in detail, response headers, and response body. So HTTP method, HTTP headers are something we are going to see in detail. Response HTTP status codes is something we have seen in detail. So one XSS status code are the informational status codes, which basically ask, do you want to start or do you want to continue? Okay. 200 or 2XX status codes is basically a success status code, which represents something has happened successfully. Okay, if an account is created, you'll see 201 created. If the request was successfully executed, you'll get 200 okay. So all those success things comes under 2x. And 3xx is basically redirectional, where URLs change or the redirection is set. Temporary redirection, permanent redirection, 307, 301, 2, those sort of things are set to the 4xx are basically client-side issues. So whatever on your side, as you are the client, the issues that happens from your side are represented by 4xx. So let's say you don't have access to the website or it is only authorized to be accessed by admin, you'll get 403. That is forbidden if you're not the admin. Then if you don't have the correct, you have not entered the correct username and password, you'll get 401 unauthorized. Okay. And then page not found is 404. If you have entered a wrong URL, this is something will be 404. Then 5xx is are the server side status codes. This is when the server is in unexpected state or is not responding properly. So, or also internal server error. So anything that is related to server will be, addressed in this 5xx status codes. So these are the HTTP status code that we saw. And we saw how to distinguish, HTTP status code or HTTP headers, request, response, request body, response body, uh, and the status codes and HTTP method, how you can identify that from a request. We saw it using burp suite, and we also saw it using curl command. Okay, so this is what we have learned so far. Now, just allow me a 2 minute, just allow me 2 minutes. I'm fetching something. Okay, so today we are going to see, or we're going to, first understand what is OWASP. OWASP top 10 for web application. Okay, so OWASP is is an organization which analyzed all the attacks that happens in last 4 years, and based on that, it categorized them into 10 different categories, all these attacks. And these attacks are are studied, analyzed, and like segregated in these categories, and it is shared publicly. So OWASP is a global standard that is used to use as a reference to do the security testing, or also to prevent the attack. So in offensive as well as defensive security, it is used. WASP has its own web application firewall as well, which is a more security firewall. So which has predefined rules which OWASP sets to prevent from these attacks. So basically, OWASP is a global standard used for doing security testing when it comes to OWASP top 10 web application. So if you see here, OWASP top 10 2025, it was last rolled out in 2025. Okay. And then these other top 10 categories of attack that had happened in previous 4 years, and they have categorized under this 10 categories. Okay. So OWASP every 4 years they releases the new top 10. Okay. So the last that we had was top 10 2021. So it was first 2017, then 2021, and now we have 2025, the latest one. Okay. The latest security standards. Now earlier the old name of OWASP was Open Web Application Security Project. Okay, so earlier OWASP used to deal with only web application, but later OWASP started dealing with all sort of applications. Okay, so the new name that they came up with is Open World. So the new name that is right now followed is Open Worldwide Application Security Project. So not only web application, was categorize these top 10 categories for mobile application. It does it for API collection and so on. So if I just search for OWASP top 10 for mobile applications, here. These are for mobile application, top 10 categories of attacks. Then LLM or like AI or ML, the LLM penetration testing, these are followed, which is like so this is for generative AI. Top 10 categories. Just a moment. List. Yes, here are the 10 categories of overstock for generative AI. Okay, or LLM, you can say, large language model. So for every sort of application, there is overstock 10 as a reference for doing the security. So it's not only for just security testing, but it can be used for developers as a reference to mitigate vulnerabilities. We have it for API collection as well. Yes, this is for APIs. API 1, this was last, rolled out in 2023, and after that, it will come up 4 years. So yes, as of now, we are dealing with web application security. We're going to study these 10 categories, okay? And these 10 categories, based on that, there are checklists that is being followed for doing or performing penetration testing, okay? So any questions, any doubts on what OWASP is?
Yeah, just a question.
Sure.
For this framework, right? So is this only for the developer focused or
No, it's not only for developers, it's for security team as well as the defensive security team. Uh, so for reference, in order to do penetration testing, we do follow these ones and the standards, and also developer use it to mitigate it. And if it is on the something on the server side, some mitigations on that.
okay, so is
Yes.
this like
Mhm.
any
Yeah, go
different
ahead.
from MITRE, NIST, or CSA?
Can you repeat? Is it different from?
From MITRE, NIST, or CSA, because those are also the security frameworks that are very popular and people use to pen test.
Yes. So, they are the frameworks, and this is, the security standards that I use. So, this is as a reference, can be used for doing the penetration testing or to mitigate. It is just categorized into this sort of vulnerabilities. Let me know if you have any top.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. So these are top 10 categories, and we'll just understand what, basically this category has what sort of attacks. So let's just put it over here. Okay, broken access control. So broken access control is basically whenever there is any sort of access control broken on any web application, those sort of vulnerabilities are classified under this category. So there are two things, authentication and authorization in any web application. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So does anyone know what is the difference between authentication and authorization?
So the first one, authentication. Uh, so basically, one has to do with the login credentials if they are correct,
Mhm.
and the second one is to even if they have access, like they may not have access to like manager level or upper level.
Got it. Awesome. Great. So authentication is the technical mechanism that you log in into the web application. So
Authorization
there is,
also a kind of access, that what kind of access the user has
yes, it is under authorization. So what
on this.
kind of
Yes,
access
that's
it has to authorization? So authentication is basically the mechanism through which the user authenticates into the web application
right.
or any application. And authorization is,
Access.
yes, the level of access the user has. So authorization is the level of the level of access the user has. Maybe, for example, let's say student access,
Mhm.
or it is student access, then teacher, then maybe the HOD,
Mhm.
and then, uh, principal, and so on. Okay. So Broken access control is basically whenever there is any authorization failure in the web application, whenever there is level of access failure in any web application, it is categorized under broken access control. So you can see that. Okay, broken access control is also called as BAM. Okay, so here vulnerabilities like IDHOR, that is insecure direct object reference, gets added. So for example, IDHOR. Okay, so IDHOR is under this category. Security misconfiguration. So security misconfiguration is when there is any sort of misconfiguration that have happened due to some mistake that are categorized here. So let's say security header misconfiguration. So let's say the CSV header is not configured properly. So the CSV headers is not using or it is using unsafe inline. It is not using dynamic nonce. So it will get categorized here. Okay. Also, let's say if any DNS is not configured properly, so that will also appear over here. So this will also have DNS misconfigurations and so on. So any sort of security misconfiguration that happen on any web application are categorized under this particular category. So if you have any questions on it, just let me know.
Do you have more examples on the security misconfiguration?
Sure. Let me see if I can show something. Just a moment. Okay, let me show you. Let me pause the recording. Okay. So, we any questions anyone has on this one, this part, cryptographical failures? No.
No, sir. All good.
Thank you for confirming. Let's move to injection category now. So injection category attack are basically, any sort of malicious code is injected into a web application through injection points, and the web application accepts that code, and then it executes it. So this particular categories of vulnerabilities are added on or classified under injection category. So basically, here is a malicious code. So this sort of vulnerabilities are classified or are taken under this one. So now let me just show you an example. Let's go to this website, YouTube, and here I am using this malicious code. Okay, just a moment. And if you see, this web application has accepted the code and it has given the execution of it, okay, on this particular website. So this is basically an injection category vulnerability. We have injected a code in here and it is accepting. Okay. So here examples will be SQL injection.
I have a question regarding that.
Don't go ahead.
So is that similar to going to the page inspect and then writing a JavaScript code?
Yes, you can say that. In that, you can do that. You can do it through inspect, but that will be self XSS, and this is reflected XSS. So will be so there are 5 types of XSS. So yes, it is kind of similar if you just categorize it under XSS. But in that there are 5 different ways types of XSS.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. HTML injection, and then LDAP injection, and then there is XML injection, and so on. Okay. So now let me show you one more example of it. Let's go to this website. Okay, so if you see here, HTML injection. So someone has already added it here. HTML injection D. So here is an HTML injection. Let's try to use. Let's take this image, copy image address. I'll just copy image tag from here. And instead of this source, I'm going to put this link. Okay, this is the tag. And instead of this one, let me put this particular part. Let's go to profile. I hope there is no character limit. And if you see, the car image is added on this particular web application. Now, anyone who goes on this endpoint, he will be able to see this car image. So like this, if any sort of HTML code is getting injected into the web application, and the web application is executing that code, or it's showing that code being added on the web application, and it is it can be stored, and it can also be for certain amount of time. Now stored is very dangerous, so we'll get into categories of it later, but yes, this is HTML injection. So again, this falls under this injection category. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions on the injection category. Any questions, guys? Perfect. So let me give you something to try. Maybe it's getting too much of theory. So, okay. After the practical, let's get into insecure design. So insecure design is basically the design or the architecture of web application is insecure. It is not following a certain criteria or standards. So let's say in any particular web application, the design is that a single coupon can only be claimed at one particular time. Okay, I mean, like only one coupon will be claimed by one user. But if it is being claimed by multiple users again and again, that becomes the insecure design. Okay. Uh, and there are various, examples of insecure design. So it is mostly of a dynamic based approach of insecure design. Let me try to get some example for API misconfiguration as well as in insecure design. So, okay, let's take an example of a bank. There is a bank, and in that, in that particular bank, there is a payment portal. Okay, the bank website has a payment portal, and there is fund transfer feature. So now, person A is transferring funds to person B, but while transferring the funds, person A, what he does is, he there is a feature that says that enter amount to transfer and available balance amount and available balance. This person has in his account. Okay. Now, this available balance is, let's say, example, $200. Okay. And he puts here $400. Okay. Which should fail. This transaction should fail because his available balance is less than what he is trying to transfer. But now here, the $400 will get transferred. Okay. So that is also insecure design. I hope you're getting it. Perfect. Let me know if you have any question on this one.
Can you repeat one more time, please?
Sure. So let's say, user A is trying to transfer some amount to user B. Okay. Now, user A only has available balance of $200, and he transfers and he is asked to enter amount to transfer. So he adds $400. It is more than his available balance. Okay, which is $400. Now, when he clicks on transfer button, the $400, it gets successfully transferred to him. So that is insecure design. The available balance is less than what he is trying to transfer, and still the amount get transferred. So it is one of the example of insecure design.
Is it possible in real life?
Not right now.
Okay.
It is not possible, but yes, it's a situation to show an example. Maybe on UAT instances, yes, it is possible.
Once in a million it can happen, but most of the time it should give an error.
Yes, it will give an error. But let's say a website is to be launched and it's on the UAT instance or pre-prod instance. There it might happen, but on production, no, it is very
Yeah, we heard the
it will
stories
happen.
that a big balance transfer to somebody's account automatically or by mistake, things can happen.
Mhm. Right. Yes. Yes. Because of that, only there are a lot of bug bounty platforms still going on. Okay. Yes. So, any other questions on this particular part? Okay. Let's go into authentication failures. Okay. So authentication failures are basically now in the top, here we studied what is authentication and authorization. And broken access control deals with authorization related issues. Okay. Now, authentication is the technical mechanism to authenticate into the web application. And if this mechanism is broken, then the authentication failures are classified under this category. Okay. So let's say no rate limit on web application, on password attempts. Then you can say that null OTPs can be used. So anything that breaks the authentication of the web app is categorized here. Okay, under this section. Now let me pause the recording for a while to software and data integrity failures. So now, in this particular category, what happens is web application trust some sources which it should not trust. Okay, so which is not the correct sources, and it trusts those sources. So the system trust is so let's say the web application is using a service, a third-party service, and that service is tampered. Not the packages, but the service is tampered. So let's say it is using some login service or a payment portal by some other service. And if that portal has been tampered or it has been compromised itself, the web application is also get compromised. And those set of vulnerabilities or categories of attack are added under software and data integrity failures. Okay. So some softwares which it trust or the data which has been tampered. So those categorize under this particular one. So here I don't have any example to show, but yes, let me know if you have any questions on it. This will be a theoretical one.
So this means if any data was altered on a
Mhm.
website, the system would trust it, right? Because they wouldn't know.
Yes. So let's say this is our web application. Okay. Now this web application is using some data or some service from a third party or some an external service. Now, if this data has been tampered by someone else, let's say this the person, he tampers this data, and we are still using this data, so that will come under software and data integrity failure. So tampered data is being used.
By the way, did you mean software or data or software of data?
Sorry, it's software or data. It's a typo. Thank you for correcting me. Thank you. Perfect. So here we don't have anything that can be shown practically for now, but yes, it's the theoretical explanation is here. Let me know if you have any questions on it. Okay, so let's go to security login and alerting failures. So whenever like any application, it has application logs. So if any attacker is trying to attack or any user is trying to log in into the web application, every logs has been saved. Okay, the logs are saved on those servers. So if this logging and then after this, once this logs comes, there is alerting system. So if someone is trying to brute force or is trying to use multiple password again and again. So there will be an alert that will get generated to from that application. So if this application feature is missing on the web application, okay, the security login, then if there is an attack and if it is not present, then no one will come to know that that attack had happened. So attack happens, but nobody will notice it. So those sort of missing things like security login whenever it is missing is categorized under this one. So the consequence of it is attack happens. But no alerts are generated. Okay, so very simple to understand. Please let me know if you have questions on this one. Okay, great. No questions. Okay, then comes mishandling of exceptional conditions. So if any exception comes up, okay, onto a particular web application, any exceptional error or exception handling error comes up, and it is handled in a wrong way, then it is classified here. So errors or unexpected. So errors or unaccepted situations are handled incorrect. So yes, that is about this particular category. So let me know if you have any questions on any particular category so far we have studied.
Not on category, but I'd like to ask go back to the question that I asked before. All the examples that we have given, it's more web app based. So I'm just trying to understand, like, if this framework is used to, test during the SDLC, or like, is this like corporate or industry standard that you use like on daily basis?
Okay. So now to addressing your question, this is for penetration testing, and penetration testing, is done uh, after it is deployed on a UAT instance. Okay. So in SDLC, there are different levels where security testings are done. So there is SAS, DAST, SCA. Okay. So in the SDLC, SAS will be carried out, whenever the code is built. Okay. After every build, the SAS scan will happen. Then after that, when the web application is deployed on a UAT instance, the DAST will happen over there. After DAST, if the DAST issues are resolved, the penetration testing will happen. And there, this is used. And this is used only for web application. As here, I've mentioned,
Okay.
we are now dealing with web application OWASP opt-in, or we are dealing with web application penetration testing. This is limited to web application right now. The OWASP opt-in we are studying these are only specific to web application. But for API collection, it is different. For mobile application, it is different. Or for LLMs, it is different. So yes, it is not applicable to each and every software, only to web application.
Okay.
This one. And in SDLC, this is at the testing phase. The penetration testing happens at the testing part. And before that, after every code commit and SAST happens. So like whatever we have studied previously, like SAS, DAT, STA, SCA, and then like based on its type, it is being carried out in the SDLC in that particular in that particular block. Okay, so this is penetration testing, and it is done post deployment on UAT instance.
Okay, makes sense. Thanks.
Yes. So, thank you. Anyone else has any questions? So now we have completed the OWASP top 10, the top 10 categories of vulnerabilities in web application. Now we will be starting with, the second part of the reconnaissance, which is your VAPT, which is vulnerability analysis and penetration testing on web applications. Okay. So before moving ahead, I just want to confirm if you guys have any doubt, any questions regarding whatever we have learned so far. So 2 points are something that I've kept for later, which are highlighted in yellow color in the notes. It's about the enumeration and active way. We're going to start with XSS. XSS is also called as cross-site scripting. It is also called as JavaScript injection. It is also called as JS injection. It stands for JavaScript injection. So there's a couple of names of XSS. XSS is the injection category vulnerability. Okay, so if we talk about OWASP Top 10 2025, it stands under A05 2025, the fifth one, the injection category. So let's see what is the definition of XSS. So XSS is basically when there is any JavaScript injection done onto any web application, and the web application executes that particular malicious JavaScript code. This execution is called as cross-site scripting. Okay, so I just need to be. That's Prasan, you can take your time. So in a web application, if attacker injects malicious JavaScript code and the web application, then the vulnerability termed as XSS. Okay, the definition is very simple. Okay, so in a web application, if an attacker injects malicious JavaScript code and the web application executes the code, then the vulnerability is termed as XSS. Okay, XSS happens only when there is injection of malicious JavaScript code. Okay, so that's the reason it is called as XSS. So whenever there is different sort of code injected, it becomes a different category of injection. So whenever there's HTML code injected, it becomes HTML injection. Malicious HTML code injected, it becomes HTML injection. Whenever there is malicious SQL code injected, it becomes SQL injection. Okay, so likely whenever there's JavaScript code injected, it is JavaScript in excuse me. Okay, so whenever there's JavaScript code injected, it is XSS, okay, or it is JavaScript injection. There are basically 5 types of XSS. First one is your reflected XSS. Then we have stored XSS, blind XSS, DOM XSS, and self XSS. So Roshan, you asked me a question. Is it the same that you right click and in the inspect part you add the code over there and then the web application executes it? It mostly is self XSS. Okay, so that is self XSS. Now we're going to see one by one all these XSS categories. But till now, is it clear? The definition, is the definition clear? Or do you have any question about it? Okay. Also, one more thing, the CVSS score and CVSS matrix for XSS is, it ranges based on the CVSS calculator definitely, but just, a usual, the CVSS matrix for XSS is high critical, okay, and in some cases it becomes medium. So it is rarely when it goes in low, so it is medium, high, and critical, mostly high and critical, okay. So we will start with reflected XSS. That is also called as reflected cross-site scripting. Okay. So sometimes, like it had happened with the previous student. So the student got the question that what is, JavaScript injection, reflected JavaScript injection, but they only had the name cross-site scripting in my mind, in their mind, or XSS. And they were not able to understand it. So, every part of it was seen, but just the name was different. So please remember the names. It is very important. So I'm going to just copy this definition and make changes to the system. So here I am just going to add and the web application reflects and executes support. Then the vulnerability is termed as XSS. Okay. So reflection and execution is important here. Okay. So in an web application, if an attacker injects malicious JavaScript code and the web application reflects and executes the code, then the vulnerability is termed as XSS. Okay. So this is the definition of reflect XSS. Now, in a web application, what is the area where we are going to check for this particular finding? Test or check for. Okay. So in the areas like text field, which takes an input. So this is the first thing where we are going to check. Okay. Second is endpoint, which has parameter is equal to value. So endpoint is something which has A is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, something like this. Okay. Or you can say ID is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. So such endpoints are where we are going to test for it. Okay. So these are the two areas where we are going to test. Now, let me clear up some browser tabs. see this website, it has a text field. So this is called as text field. So here is where you can check for XSS, okay, for reflected XSS. And the other thing is the endpoints. So any specific endpoints, let's say I am, search for something, 80. So if you see query is equal to 80. So this is also the part where we are going to check for XSS, okay, this particular part, where something is equal to something. Let's go back to conditions to satisfy after that. Do you guys have any doubt on this one? What are the areas to check for? Anything from here? Till here? Any questions? No? Okay. Now the second part is, yeah, go
Sorry,
ahead, Manju.
what does exactly reflex means? I know like execute the code means, but what does that
Yes.
web application reflex means?
Okay, I'm coming to it. Okay. The next thing that we are seeing is conditions to satisfy. So if this two condition gets satisfied, we say it is uh, reflected. Okay, and the conditions are, first one is reflection, and second one is execution. So Manju, I'll answer your question here on the reflection part. Now, reflection can happen by two ways. Okay, first one is directly on the web page, and second one is in the code. Okay, in the front end code or inspect, you can say front end code or the when you press inspect button and you'll see the over there. Now let's see what is the reflection. Answer Manju's question. So here I'm going to search something, let's say, watermelon. Okay. And I am getting the reflection of watermelon here. So whatever I am entering here, I'm getting the reflection out here. Okay. So whenever this situation happens, let's say if you're putting your name as well, let's say name into it, and I'm getting the name here reflected on the web application. This means the reflection is happening, and the reflection is happening directly on the web page. So this is what it means, okay, on the web page. Okay. So this conditions which we are learning to satisfy, reflection can happen through this or this. That is okay. Any one of it, if it gets satisfied, that is okay. But the condition reflection and execution both should get satisfied. Okay. So from here, either any one way of it, and from execution, there are 7 ways, and out of which if any one gets satisfied, that also works. Okay. So Manja, did you understand what is execution? Oh, sorry, reflection from
Yes,
here on the web page?
yes, I got it.
So
Thank you.
let's say Amazon. Yeah, Amazon. Okay, now I'm not saying that Amazon is vulnerable to excesses. I'm just showing the reflection there. Reflection and execution, when both get satisfied, then only it is vulnerable. Now I'm just going to show you reflection. So let's say here I'm going to search for, let's say iPhone. And here, if you see, the reflection is happening. The word that I've entered from this input field is getting reflected directly here as it is. And this is what a reflection is. Okay. So now please try out reflection. And when it happens directly on the web page, this web page, if it comes up, this is called as reflection. So you guys can quickly give it a try. Then we'll see what is in the inspect or the front end code. So you can put in the chat box once you're done. You can let me know directly. Okay, done. Awesome. Now here, let's say this name is not getting reflected here. Then the second thing or second place where we are going to check where it is getting reflected is just simply right click on inspect button. Okay. And let's first change the word. Okay. Let's, you know, let's search for watermelon. Okay, website down. So watermelon. Here is the word is getting reflected. Let's say this is not getting reflected here. In the second place we're going to check is click on inspect. And in inspect, you get this element section. In this element section, just press Ctrl F and search for that word that we have. And if you get results here as one of one or anything, any results, that means the reflection is happening on the code, okay, on the front end code. If you see here, it is getting reflected at this particular part. So yes, it is happening. This condition is getting satisfied. So this is how you check it in the front end code or element. Okay, so please give it a try. And we will also use this website as a reference. Okay. Now let me give you to check it on a different one. Okay. Check this on this URL. Okay. I'm going to put this URL in the chat box. So it is going to be a bit different. Now, as I've mentioned, you can do this testing on two things. One is text field and second one is endpoint. Now we saw it on the text field. Now I've given you endpoint. Give it a try if you're able to do it. If not, I'll show you how to do it. Okay. The same process. Just check it on endpoint. Just enter, reflection on endpoint. Check it via both the ways. Or you can try it here. Okay, let me give you this one. One more. Okay, try the second one first.